Welcome to Corrective Consciousness, episode 286, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And we have another beautiful show here for you, and we ran long on Reactive Consciousness this week, so this will be a continuation of our discussions from Reactive Consciousness this week, and we will continue on our coverage of the Matrix franchise then next week with some wonderful little tidbits about the side projects of the Matrix franchise and the sequels. So we will continue on then. Without further ado, here are some more talking points about this week. Limited Run Games as well came out with announced a couple different things that I thought were pretty interesting this week. So they announced that they are coming out with a Valis collection.
I think they already did. I think that they had their two waves.
Oh, okay. So are they? I thought they were still up for that though.
I could check real quick, but I want to say no.
Really? I thought it was an open pre-order. No, it is. It's open pre-order.
Is it actually?
I can add it to cart right now. So
all right.
It's an open pre-order. I think they changed that. I would imagine that most of their stuff is open pre-orders.
A lot of times it is, but sometimes it isn't. You never know.
Yeah. Well, I think in particular that this is a pretty interesting...
No. I just double-checked my email right now. It says second batch available. So, like, maybe it just wasn't bought out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what? No. You know what it is? No. I think you're right. Second batch... Dead Age, period. Also, Valis. So maybe that is open?
Yeah, I thought it was open for 4 weeks. Okay. that was
right.
what I read.
You're right, you got me. It was associated with an email that said second batch, so, like, it looked like that was what that was. Never mind.
It's alright. But, yeah, this is pretty cool because Valis is kind of an unusual license. It was something that... especially like TurboGrafx people really were into. The Valis 3, I think, made it to Genesis in the United States via renovation.
Yeah, I was going to mention that game bounced around because definitely one of the titles was on Genesis, yes.
Yeah, and Sid of Valis was a remake of 2, but with SD... Sid, get it? SD, Sid.
Okay. By the way, I think there were 4 games, but this collection covers the first 3.
That is correct. So, but the first one never came out here, and the second game came out. 2 and 3 came out on the TurboGrafx in the United States, but to a very small audience, obviously.
Yeah.
So. What's really cool is the 4th one came out for the Super Famicom and Super Nintendo. The 4th one is not included in this one. No, there is a PC Engine version of that one as well, but that did not come to the United States. Yeah, but the Super Nintendo one did. But yeah, the first 3 games are on this, which is pretty cool because the first game has never been available in... English to my knowledge.
Well, I have a bonus for you. I think you're going to like this, because Limited Run Games does not produce games. They make physical versions of games that exist, so the collection, I think, has been available, but here's a twist. These games are being translated, or at least the first one, whatever it is, but like these are available in English now, because I think even if you bought the collection before, you just had to sit through the cutscenes and hope you knew Japanese, but... This has English support, which is pretty rad. Not
only that, but it has a reversible cover with the anime...
The American awful cover?
I was just going to say, so the default is the anime inspired art from the the Japanese versions of the games, but there's some really awful photorealistic TurboGrafx art that is the reverse.
This is the era where they try to westernize art. So like Suikoden 1's covers so like this is like that, but it's kind of like an awkward portrayal. It's like American Mega Man 1. It's like that's what a face looks like. So like, and they like I saw LRG's Twitter post. They specifically did that because they thought it was funny.
Yeah. So this is pretty great because not only does it have like the kitschy part of it, but you can also enjoy it as like a serious fan which is pretty
by the
cool.
way, you know what else I remember about Valis?
What's that?
I mean, you probably remember this too. Remember that time at a convention we went to? You tried buying Valis like 2 or 3.
Oh yeah, it was 2.
And like,
yeah,
it was 2, and you tried seeing if you could haggle, and the guy said no. And you were like, all right, bye. I'm the only one in this entire fucking con who was ever going to even think about buying Valis 2.
It's true, and I didn't want to like a whole lot off of it.
Like you didn't actually say any of that, but like that's who else is buying Valis 2?
Yeah, just didn't even entertain.
You're not going to take $5 off? Fine, don't
No,
sell
just
it at all.
straight up said no, and then nothing else to me. Which is
like, see ya.
some of the worst salesmanship I've ever seen in my life. Like, I would understand it. He's just like, this is a pretty rare game. I'm sorry, I wish I could do more. That kind of thing.
Yeah, or like counter offer, but
yeah.
like again, a hard pass on the only person who gives 2 shits about Valis 2.
And it's still the only one I don't own.
Game, dude?
It's the only one I don't own for PC Engine, by the way. But I am looking forward to this. This is pretty cool. For anybody who doesn't know, we haven't actually explained what Valis is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a side-scrolling like
action.
Character action. I was going to say beat 'em
title.
up, but that's not true. Like, you shoot little things out of your sword, and you can swing your sword at enemies.
I mean, the closest analog is to something like Castlevania, but not nearly as precise.
Yeah, like, it's an okay game. It's more of just a historical curiosity at this point. Like, it's not bad, but, like, you've seen better, but it's just interesting.
Legendary X is, like, a better game in the same exact genre, I would say.
Was that one where you get knocked off the pyramid?
That is correct. The game where you
the ball and chain guy?
When you beat the game, a naked woman comes out of the background and kills you.
No, the best was that guy who attacks you with the ball and chain.
Yeah.
Like the giant, like, wrecking ball. Like,
and the wrecking ball, like, turns into the boss after that.
Yeah, like a giant ball and chain, like Kim in King of Fighters. And when you beat him, the ball and chain, like, just completely inexplicably comes alive and just starts fighting you. You're like, what?
Yeah, that's Legendary Axe 2. Legendary Axe 2 is like one of my favorite like character action games because it's bananas. Like
it's just stupid video game bullshit. It's great.
It's really good. I enjoy it like on a lot of different levels, but there's just some really awesome bullshit. But Valis has really its big appeal was like sexy.
Yeah, you're dressed kind of like
Project Echo,
like Valkyrie, like, or sort of like one of Athena's costumes.
Yeah,
like Athena often has the schoolgirl outfit, but she has
exactly
a bunch of different outfits. It just makes me think of that. You're like 90s
skimpy,
like D&D bikini Dungeons and Dragons like girl, like you kind of look like that sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, skimpy sexy armor. Yeah,
exactly, like Witchblade almost. Like, but like
well, Witchblade is too much.
Yeah, Witchblade's like the next level of that. But armor that only covers the nipples. Like
get the fuck out. But yeah, you have bikini armor that's not armor. It's just sexy and it's called armor, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like. It's a thing out of time, for sure. And if you think that I'm being unfair to like what the appeal is, after the 4th game, they dropped like action games altogether and started making like hentai games with the character. Yeah, so they're like PC only hentai games. So like they knew what was up. They knew who they were selling to, but what was cool about these games back in the day is they also had the high quality like anime cutscenes, kind of like on Sega CD, how a lot of those games had
like even on Genesis, those cutscenes look pretty good.
Yeah,
for the time, like that's legitimately impressive with voice acting.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the appeal shocking. At the time. The appeal at the time was like the production value. You had voice acting and like really neat looking animation for the time. Yeah, because
Genesis didn't really push, like you would hear in Mortal Kombat Toasty, like they'll give you a line, but like fully voiced cutscenes, like that just didn't happen.
Yeah, this most of these games were on the CD format, so like they really took full advantage of it. So that was the real appeal of these games. Like they were in the 16-bit era. It was very much a novelty to be able to like hear full cutscenes.
And it was kind of like It's kind of like Castlevania Rondo of Blood cutscenes, where they're like digitized characters, but they're not really moving all around. It's like a still image, but the mouth moves. But like that's for the Genesis, that's amazing.
It's basically like in-engine, like in-pixel anime, if that makes any sense. It's like not actual drawings. It's pixel animation, but like anime from that.
No, it is. Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah. So I really think that is kind of a cool thing that they did. So that Valis 2 art is just like mwah. I love that.
It's pretty funny.
Now, out of the blue, people have been wondering whether they were going to do this because they had confirmed that they are doing the Contra collection. Like Limited Run Games is doing like the Contra collection after they also said that they were doing the Castlevania collection, which still is not out. They said that they still need some more time in the oven to get that out.
Let me tell you this. I don't know how often you order from Limited Run Games. You're gonna wait.
Yeah, and especially now with all the delays.
They deliver, but like you are gonna wait.
Yeah, but their quality is always top notch, and I love everything that they do. That I've ever gotten from them, I had never been disappointed. So I think they came out of the blue with this one. They're going to be doing Castlevania Requiem, and for people who don't know what Castlevania Requiem is, it is the collection of Castlevania Rondo of Blood or Dracula X from the TurboGrafx 16 PC engine, as well as the PSP version of Symphony of the Night in one collection.
This is technically the first time we're ever going to have a physical copy in the US of Rondo of Blood. I think.
Well, it depends on how you're counting it, because we have the PSP collection that does have it on it. But
okay, all right, fair enough.
But yeah, they are also putting out a licensed official version of the Rondo of Blood game in English, by the way.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They are doing that later, which is pretty interesting. It's a reissue of or basically an original issue of a PC Engine game that never had a chance here. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like I just said with Valis, this is another one of those games where you have cutscenes where Dracula speaks in Japanese, and you're like, all right.
Yeah. So Castlevania Requiem, this is by far the best version of Symphony of the Night that you could play. I just played it again on...
Well, the voice acting isn't a meme, so 0 out of 10.
So, the most disappointing aspect of this is that it's a PS4 exclusive, though. I mean, you could play it on PS5 as well, obviously, but and people don't really know why, because like, why wouldn't they want to release Symphony of the Night everywhere and Dracula X? It's basically the two most iconic games in the entire series. It's like the two best Castlevania games are a console exclusive, which is really
not to mention, like, this isn't necessarily the most obvious thing in the world, because Rondo of Blood, people know, like, people have heard of it, but it was something of a niche title in the West because it didn't come out very didn't accessibly. But like, the thing is, like, Symphony of the Night is like a direct sequel. Like, that's why you open with Richter. You think it's just like, in Japan, it's like, oh, it's the next game with Richter, and then surprise, you're not Richter, you're Alucard. But in America, it was like, oh, I'm playing as that guy from the SNES game? All right, okay. And then it goes to, like, but Rondo of Blood is directly what led to this point.
What's kind of funny is it's a direct sequel to both Castlevania Rondo of Blood and Castlevania 3, because
Alucard.
Because Alucard wakes up directly at, his timeline. It's basically right after Castlevania 3. So anyway,
one other thing I'll mention is, like, even though I never really got into Castlevania games, Symphony of the Night has one of those things I particularly love in video games. Now, I've repeatedly mentioned on this podcast that I like it when a character builds up who they are, or like their base or whatever, goes to something from nothing. What I don't really talk about, though, because it doesn't come up often, is I really like when a sequel starts with, like a cold open with the final boss of, like, the previous game, or, I have mentioned this once or twice, like, a superior graphics interpretation of that. Like, Galarian's Ash, this is the fucking example I'm using. Galarian's Ash opens with, like, PS2 graphics where you could freely run around, interpretation of the final boss of Galarian's 1.
Yeah, Dragon's
like
Trap does
Evil
the same
style
thing as well. I think it's the first game to do it. Dragon's Trap.
Okay.
Wonder Boy
and
3.
That's just like, well, like, look at how technology is advanced, and look at how the sequel begins. This boss seems easy. Wait till you see the rest of the game. Like, I just like stuff like that.
But I think a lot of people suspect that because these are PSP emulations, that it's only going to be playable on Sony platforms.
Well, that was going to be my guess. Yeah, Castlevania Symphony of the Night was released on a ton of things, but the PSP version was only on the PSP.
So you might be asking me, Vise, why is the PSP version the best? It is.
You know what they could do to go multi-platform? Release the Saturn version.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So there have been many versions of like Symphony of the Night has been re-released probably more times than any other Castlevania game, and for good reason. It is basically the best and most iconic
it's the
Castlevania
one,
game.
it's overshadowed what people think of when they think of Castlevania games. It's no longer Belmont with the power walk, and
it used to be the exception. It used to be the weirdo.
Yeah, that was the weird one, but now it's like it defined Metroidvanias. Metroid already, obviously existed since the 80s, but Castlevania really cemented, like, this is the look of these kinds of games.
Not only that, but it introduced RPG elements to the Metroid formula.
Also, very, very smooth level up system. There's no, like, victory screen. Just, like, as you're fighting an enemy, you leveled up, keep playing. Like, it's great.
Not only that, but it also has, like, loot. Like and like rare different drops. Weapons, all kinds of different things you can discover. Yeah, exactly. So the PSP the original version is the PlayStation version, and then they made a separate group of people within Konami made the Saturn one, which is adds two really, like, poorly made additional areas that have not shown up since, by the way. So they still are exclusive to the Saturn version.
That's honestly kind of a shame. Like, I like when you include, like, the weird little stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some weird... there's a couple weird, exclusive enemies there, too.
Yeah, again, it makes me think of Resident Evil. Like, you have the battle mode.
Yeah.
Because battle mode did not start in Resident Evil 2. It started in 1 on the Saturn. And you have the tick enemies, which are literally just reskinned hunters, but still.
Well, they what else was in there? It looks really bad. Like, there's a lot of slowdown compared to the PlayStation version, which is weird considering it's a 2D game and should run really well on the Saturn.
Well, actually, no, that was precisely what I was going to mention. It is not a 2D game. It looks like a 2D game. It's technically 3D. You got effects in the foreground. It's got the save point is obvious because it spins, but, like, it's secretly a 3D game the whole time. It's just your character, obviously, is 2D, but, like, you have stuff going on in the foreground and background.
Yeah, there are a couple enemies that are also very much 3D renders, but...
like Grand Falloon. Oh, no, what was the thing with, like, the shit spinning around it?
The spirit
like
sword.
The weapons?
Yeah.
All the weapons?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, so it has poor performance, and also is... has a scrunched down resolution to its own detriment. So, like, it has a weird resolution. Like, the level has a changed resolution, but the characters do not. So the characters don't fit within the space correctly.
Yeah, you know what that makes me think of? Well, not even fitting in the space. You know what that makes me think of is
they don't, like, walk up the steps right. That kind of thing.
Well, no. What I was thinking of, though, was, like, those point and click adventures where the thing you can click on is not part of, like, the single piece of art that is the room you're on.
Sure.
Like, because that can be moved. So it's like, the one loose tile or something. It's not like painted.
It's like in a
everything else.
cartoon, like they have the one thing that they're going to interact with in the foreground.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not one painting. Like there's also this object on a different layer or something, and you could just tell.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me think of that.
Yeah. So it is not a good version of the game. That was only it came out in Japan. The one thing that is interesting about it, Symphony of the Night was cool because it had a lot of secret and cool things in it.
Yes.
The original version allowed you to play as Richter through the entire regular castle.
I forgot about that.
If you beat the game. If you beat the game, you could also be an axe armor. You could also have an axe armor item.
That's awesome.
So you could be one of the axe armor enemies with that equipped. There were a couple other things that you could do after you beat the game. Well, the Saturn added a half-baked Maria mode, where you can play as Maria. Yeah, it's one of those
things, like, there's Maria mode, like, include that, but yet apparently it's like, because, like, Maria was playable in Rondo, right?
Correct, but as a child.
Yes, she had a whole different moveset. She was very fast. She could summon animals. It's like, oh, it's like, actually, it's a real way of playing the game.
People actually call it easy mode because it is a lot easier to play as her because she's a lot more nimble.
Yeah, a lot.
I think she can also like affect her direction after like jumping.
For Castlevania, that's a big deal.
That's not a thing.
Oh, and not only that, but she has her own. I don't know about mid-game cutscenes, but she has her own ending set of scenes where she's like jumping out of the tower as it's collapsing, but it's like depicted in a comical way, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, she was a cool character because instead of using like religious themed like Catholic themed weaponry like the Belmonts do, she used Zodiac themed.
She had animal buddies.
Yeah, exactly. So they added this half-baked version, so that was really the only thing that people really bought that version for, because it was like the major thing that they added. So for a while there, they would re-release Symphony of the Night, but it would still be the vanilla PlayStation version with the bad the enjoyable but bad voice acting. And
die, monster. Like it felt very like this is the take the director chose for some reason. Like, I don't think the actors are bad. It's like, it makes me think of Resident Evil 1 again, where like
Japanese people were directing English speaking people, that kind of thing. Yeah.
This is a funny thing to bring up. I don't even know if you remember this, but do you remember that, like, this is trivia, but do you remember, like, when we were kids, like the Bell Atlantic like phone commercial with James Earl Jones?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, that was a thing where the joke was he wasn't satisfied with a good take, where he was like, welcome to Bell Atlantic. Welcome to Bell Atlantic. And then, like, toward the end, like, welcome to Bell Atlantic. And then, like, welcome to... Like, well, that's how it was in Resident Evil. Like, that the take that I think of is Wesker, early game. Stop it. Don't open that door. Like, it sounds like he's purposefully emphasizing those words, like, and I'll emphasize different words on the different take. Like, that sounded like a test take, but they took it. That's the one they used.
Yeah. No, that's funny. But yeah, the 360 was the first time it was ported, and it kind of was kind of a bad quality port because people don't remember this era, but in the early 360 era, Xbox Live Arcade games had an upper limit to how big they could be.
Boy, did they ever. That's why Blood Rain, that Way Forward game, is so short.
Yeah. So
it had to be.
So they used low quality samples and things like that in that version of the game, and it didn't run the best.
And they talked through cardboard tubes with that weird echo.
Well, that was always a thing. But anyway,
that's just funny.
So, around the same time, a little bit later, I guess, the Wii got a version of Dracula X on it, and that was the first time that Dracula X was sold, or Rondo of Blood was sold to U.S. customers. They minorly changed that too. they added like a German voiceover rather than a Japanese one, which is odd because I guess they wanted it to sound more authentic, but I don't know why they did that.
Are you in Germany in that game?
Well, you're in Romania,
Yeah,
which doesn't make sense why it's Germany.
Bloodlines are world hopping.
Yeah, I don't get it. But anyway,
world hopping, globe trotting, whatever.
They could probably find somebody who was German, but they couldn't find somebody who was Romanian. But or I guess they speak Hungarian, Romanian. I don't know. Anyway,
well, at the very least, Bela Lugosi, the actor, was Hungarian.
Yeah. But so fast forward to the PSP, where they made a remake of Rondo of Blood, for called the Dracula X Chronicles. Yeah. And this was a 2.5D remake of Dracula X, with a slash Rondo of Blood. They're both the same thing. With the better graphics, a lot of hidden stuff, and also like an extra level that had never been there before, it's a more finished version of a half-finished level. So like it was a real level. It was kind of a bonus thing they added originally, like the half-finished level that they had made. You can only access it in the original game if you beat the game. So they fleshed out that level more. But what they also did was they included the full games of Rondo of Blood and then a brand new, like, hyped up version of Symphony of the Night that had been locked to this PSP format for the longest time. And, like, as a gigantic Castlevania fan, I would always tell people, if you really want to play the best version of Symphony of the Night, it's on the PSP hidden as an unlockable thing. Because what they did in this version of the game is that they fixed up the voice acting and gave it real voice acting that makes sense. Has a good script,
but it's almost a shame. It's like when they redid. I mean, this is probably a rights or something, or they couldn't get the old actors, but like in X-Men Arcade, when they changed the voice acting, at least they still made it stupid. Yeah, major props for that.
But what they also did was they made a complete Maria mode, like that. Has a full moveset and everything. It's way better than the Saturn version. Now, it doesn't have the Saturn like areas, but it has a better Maria version than the Saturn got. So that is and plus the game runs really, really well. They upscaled that for Requiem, and then they added achievements, which really lends itself to a game like this, where it's a lot of exploration and a lot of weird things you can do in it.
You get all the well, no, it'd be too cruel to say get all the items, but like stuff like that is at least a possibility.
Absolutely, and like all the weird stuff that you could do in that game, like
beat the secret boss.
Exactly, secret bosses, all that crap. Secret weapons. Getting the Kresselgrim, like you were saying, is actually an achievement.
I also kind of like achievements that specifically reward you, like making a decision you like shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like for example, I had played the shape-shifting detective. It's one of those games like Dr. Decker where it's like the FMV choose your own adventure with actors for video acting. You're a shape-shifting detective. You can't let people know that, because the whole thing is you're interviewing people as different people to get different information than what you would get on your normal iteration. But there's this one guy you meet where he says, "Who are you?" And one of your options is, "I'm a shape-shifting detective." And if you choose that, a trophy pops up that said, "You had one job." It's great.
That's amazing. But so this was a great collection that is unfortunately locked to the PS4, but also the best.
It's better than the PSP.
Yeah, it's to a mainstream platform, which is playable also on its successor, the PS5, and. The package that Limited Run Games is putting together is fantastic. So, this does not have the 2.5D remake itself, though, which is kind of funny. It has the two games that were locked away, and the versions of that. but not the actual thing itself that it came with, which is kind of funny. The thing that all the money went into is not in there. So the package that they're putting together is really, really neat. So they have basically just like a basic version with Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood on the front, and it has beautiful art. But then there's a limited classic edition, which is probably the one that I'm going to get, which comes with a reversible poster with the art of Rondo on one side and the art of Symphony of the Night on the other. The posters that Limited Run puts out are awesome. I just got the Doom ones. I absolutely love it. And it also has a soundtrack selection, which the music in both of these games is some of the best in the entire series. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's iconic.
And it comes with the regular case and also a really nice larger format box, which looks really nice. They're also putting out like a bunch of other like side items to go along with this and the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. They're coming out with a t-shirt, a poster of the Castlevania Anniversary Collection art, the Castlevania Anniversary Collection Switch case, which is pretty cool, playing cards, and a couple other doodads. But the limited Ultimate Edition is just bananas. It looks really cool.
It's too much stuff.
But it's too much.
Although I will say, though, one thing that's pretty cute is the save coffin.
Yeah, so it is $175, which is ridiculous, but there is some cool stuff here. So a reversible cover for the Blu-ray case is just pretty cool. One side is like the original Symphony of the Night cover in the United States, and also the Rondo of Blood is on the other side. The posters are there. Well, it's a reversible poster, so it's one poster with two sides. I'm actually kind of miffed about that, because what if I want to display both of them? Yeah, exactly. The certificate of authenticity, who cares? A vampire killer chain pin, which is kind of cool. A steelbook, which looks awesome. That's like
LRG, like, they have released some insane steel. I forgot. Have you seen Thumper's steelbook?
No.
Look that up. I think that, like, apparently there was like a contest for like best art or steelbooks. It was like some niche thing that nobody knows about. It's like, I guess it's cool within the industry or whatever, but Thumper won that. The Thumper steelbook is fucking crazy.
Well, this steelbook is amazing. It's really, really good. The Castlevania Requiem one, it's really, really neat. It also comes with a replica of Alucard's sword and shield, something I do not need, but is kind of cool. Yeah. And also, as you said, a save point coffin box, which looks like the
it's 3D, just like in the game.
The pixel, the polygon, low poly.
Spin it and break it into pieces, and then put it back together.
Yeah. The only the most noticeably 3D part of the game, which is pretty funny. So this looks cool, but no, thank you. It's way too expensive and has. But the $65 one is quite nice and will fit my needs, so I will go after that. But I just wanted to talk about that because, like, I'm a gigantic Castlevania fan, obviously. So that's really cool. And let's see here. We have new arcade one-ups coming out. One that's a Namco Bandai Namco Legacy one that has a lot of those Pac-Man games that I talked about before, and including Rolling Thunder and Galaga and a few other things. But there's a Midway one coming out, which will be really neat with Mortal Kombat on it, and Joust and a few other things. All the Mortal Kombat games up to Ultimate MK3, which is pretty cool. And an Atari one, which will have Tempest, basically Asteroids Deluxe, and a few other things. But those all look really cool. But again, the one-up the arcade one-ups are not for me, really, because I own a lot of the official emulations of these things. So, they're kind of expensive for what they are, if you ask me. They're like $500 a piece. So, I think they're too much. And you have one right here as well.
Why, yes. The next entry on the list isn't mine.
Oh, okay.
But the Capcom Cup?
Yeah, Capcom Cup was canceled due to coronavirus spread. As a lot of other conventions are or should be. I'm looking at you, MagFest. You should have just been canceled. I don't know why you decided.
Yeah, although from what I heard about it, actually, attendance was limited. A lot of the things you would go to, weren't there, which on one hand undercuts MagFest, but on the other hand made it the safe experience that the people who went hoped it would be.
It's like a double-edged sword. I mean, everybody was masked, and I think it was a vaxxed-only event as well.
They checked for that. It's funny, because a friend of ours actually did go, although they were starting to have regrets when it was coming up. Like, maybe I shouldn't have done this, but sunken cost fallacy. But precisely because MagFest didn't have as much to offer as they'd hoped, they ended up just kind of staying in their hotel room a lot and just playing board games and video games, which is kind of all they wanted anyway.
Yeah, in fact, we've even ruminated on having our own friend group, annual friend group thing. Possibly doing that instead of doing MagFest. Yeah, we wanted to do that,
and they accidentally ended up doing just that. It was in one of the hotels, but it's all I wanted to do was hang out with friends, and here we are.
Yeah, I think if we were able to basically throw our own MagFest, without all the convention, just
pick a hotel somewhere and go.
Yeah, exactly. Or even rent a house in the Poconos or something, because that tends to be cheap. And fun. We could do that kind of thing. But we're just getting to that age where the thing that we like doing is spending time with each other, because we don't get to do it too often anymore. So that's it. But anyway, go ahead with this.
Okay, so I have a few things to bring. Well, let's say 2 things to bring up. One of them, I'll skip ahead to this one, is a teaser was released for The Boys Season 3.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
So
we watched that together.
Yeah, so you don't get much from the teaser except for the fact that the Homelander's a creep, which we
knew
have known the entire series. But hey, it's coming in June, Season 3, so I'm excited. It'll be a tense and unpleasant watching experience, and I'll enjoy it. Speaking of tense and unpleasant watching experiences that you enjoy, Attack on Titan, the final season, Part 2, started airing today at the day of this recording, so it picks up right where final season Part 1 left off, because they're like, oh, something's happening, and then this episode, the thing happens, and stuff is escalating very quickly, and oh my god, how are there more than 10 episodes left? Because it just started. Jesus Christ, where are they going to go? So I'm going to be just tense and nervous the whole time, but welcome to the entire show.
Do you know if Attack on Titan, the manga, is ending, or just the anime?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm assuming the anime is a faithful adaptation, but I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, because sometimes where the anime will end and then come up with its own ending, and then the manga will keep going until it's ready to be done, and will have its own ending.
It's possible. I mean, this was established a while ago as the final season, so I don't know.
It also makes you wonder whether the manga's already out and ended.
Well, it may very well have been. Yeah. I think it is,
okay.
But I'm not looking into it because it's a very good chance of my getting spoiled.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the opening credits of the second half of the final season, a lot of the stuff you see in the opening credits of just here's crazy stuff. some of that stuff looks nuts. I am terrified of where this is gonna go.
Well, I kind of like what they did with the Scott Pilgrim movie, is that they the author had just happened to be finishing up the series at the time that the movie came out, so he released the 6th and final volume at the same time that the movie came out, so nobody got
Yeah,
spoiled
well,
on
it's
anything.
the same thing as an anime series. Like, we're making our own ending because we have to. Like, the movie's like, well, we got to end it. It's a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they obviously consulted with him as as well, and actually cared about what his wishes were. So that was pretty
great.
cool. Well, we can actually bring that up right now.
Yes,
because that actually fell into what I was actually going to talk about later, but why not right now? There is a Scott Pilgrim anime in development with Netflix, which is an awesome thing.
that seems like a good medium for Scott Pilgrim.
Absolutely, and considering that the movie, while fantastic, one of the best
It's the best video game movie that isn't even a video game movie.
Yeah, it is a comic book movie. But it's like one of the best adaptations of a comic book story that I've ever seen. It's really, really good.
Which, as an adaptation of the comic itself is a love letter to tons of video games. So it lines up perfectly.
So the only criticism that you can really level at it, because it's a really masterfully done movie that got a lot of things that it normally would get overlooked by somebody who didn't love the material, video game visual references and things like that.
They got the Great Fairy theme from Zelda in the movie.
I was just gonna say,
believe they did that.
And they only got it because of the way that they asked Nintendo. They Edgar Wright specifically talked to Shigeru Miyamoto and said, please allow us to do this. And they were like, yeah. And he was just like, you have to understand that the audience of this movie grew up with your music as lullabies. It means a lot to them to hear your music. And
ironically, he did not use the song that's specifically called Lullaby.
Well, yeah, but that was a big deal. And
yeah, the music's just in our heads forever. And especially because they keep bringing it back with each new Zelda game. Remember this theme because it's damn good.
Yeah. And they allowed them to use the actual Nintendo music in the movie based off of their affection for it and what it meant to them, and what they knew it would mean to their audience, as well as it was well respected. But there's all kinds of real references to actual licensed things in that KO from King of Fighters, the KO clip. KO!
The voice. Yeah, KO!
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff, as well as references to all kinds of obscure games.
Beating up guys and they turn into quarters.
Yeah, from River City Ransom, of all things.
The name of the band is Sex Bomb. The venue is Clash at Demon Head, which I didn't even get at the time.
Actually, one of the bands is Clash at Demon Head.
That was what it was, excuse me.
Exactly.
But, I didn't get that name at the time.
Yeah, so, the movie gets these things, which is unusual, because you would think that, a producer wouldn't give a shit about stuff like that.
And you know what I like is the first ex-boyfriend with the K.
Yeah.
That guy is just, what if an anime character were real with his exaggerated absurd, it looks weird when you see a real human do it, the poses.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
When he starts getting
he gets
back, what? How can this
he's
be?
No
anime
and Bollywood combined. Anime and Bollywood combined.
They broke in the dance number.
Yeah.
Apparently that wasn't really a thing in the comics. He just kind of fought in rhyme and therefore probably song.
Yeah.
I do kind of like in the movie he opens with that a little bit, and at one point Scott calls him out on just not rhyming anymore.
He just forgets it. But which is pretty funny. But you think it's lazy writing, but no, he's just a lazy character.
Yeah, you're not even rhyming. Whatever.
But the only criticism that you can lay at it is that it doesn't have enough time to have every little thing in it that was in the comic.
One movie.
It's a movie with a normal movie runtime of I think something like an hour and 45 minutes, which is a normal movie runtime. And it glances over the Double Dragon twins. Very.
Yeah, there's a little bit of them. Yeah,
but their major story arc is not in it. Also, there's a major there's a big time gap between the second to last and last boyfriend. Because Scott basically loses his way and his will to fight.
They deal with that really quickly with Nega Scott.
Yeah,
but as a joke, it's over in a second.
Yeah.
He just hangs out,
and he's just a cool guy, right?
He's just Scott, but darker, and then they both just walk out of the place together. Oh, maybe we'll see you again sometime. Bye. There's just nothing. It was so fast. That was amazing. So
this anime adaptation has a chance to be more accurate, which is always a plus, and also animation tends to adapt comics even better than live action. So just because of the drawn form, what you can do with the drawn form.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim in the anime might look like Scott Pilgrim in the comic.
He will. So yeah, and it's also being overseen by the author, Brian Lee O'Malley. So it will have creative control. Involved. So it's going to be good. I can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to it. Also, just wanted to quickly mention Righteous Gemstones Season 2 is out. I did not know if they were going to make a second season of that, and I am very glad that they did. So, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a comedy series by Danny Mcbride. He was always in Eastbound and Down, and he's been in a lot of different movies, like Pineapple Express and plenty of other really funny movies, especially with Will Ferrell. Eastbound and Down was kind of his Showtime show, and then he had a vice principal show where he's basically playing his Danny McBride character of a dirtbag in a different situation.
Mention, the main thing I've seen him in is probably This Is the End.
Yeah,
where he's just a piece of shit. Although to be fair,
everybody's
every
a piece
single
of
character in that movie is a piece of shit.
I think that's the point. Is everybody's a piece of shit.
It's funnier because they're playing themselves. James Franco is playing James Franco, who's an asshole. Danny McBride is playing Danny McBride, who's an asshole.
Michael Cera is also in that.
Michael Cera got cracked in the face by Rihanna. She beat the shit out of him.
Emma Watson is nope the fuck out of there.
Yeah, she's the one person who's probably not an asshole, and then she realized who the cast was, and no,
nope the fuck out of there. But so Danny McBride famously just plays basically the same character all the time, which is basically a slobby asshole. He's just a degenerate. And that's kind of the appeal, is just every one of his shows is that, but the character has a different name, but it's the same character. And it's in a different situation. So Eastbound and Down, he's a former baseball player. In Vice Principals, he's obviously a vice principal.
Sure.
But in this one, he is basically the heir apparent to a televangelist, mega church. It's a gigantic satire on that lifestyle, but with a character, a dirtbag character at the helm of it, which is amazing. Has Walton Goggins in it, and also what's his name from Roseanne? Just Jesus Christ, I forgot his name.
From what show?
Roseanne.
John Goodman?
Yeah, John Goodman. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, John Goodman's in
it. I would have gotten it quicker if you said from the live-action Flintstones movie.
From King Ralph, which I also mentioned this episode. But,
By the way, live-action Flintstones is legitimately good. It's a kiddie movie, but, It's
Rick Moranis
episode, but a movie.
Rick Moranis is Barney Rubble and Rosie O'Donnell.
The cast is spectacular. Yeah.
But anyway, do not watch the sequel. Oh God. Prequel.
Yeah, I saw that in theaters, and you can go ahead and skip that one.
Viva Rock Vegas, right?
There is one joke in that movie that I genuinely liked. There was a not Mick Jagger character. Called Mick Jagged, which is kind of funny. But you know how Mick Jagger's famous for that big like lip that he
Sure.
always jets out. There's a part where like Barney's ready to pick a fight with him because he's being a prick, and he's like, "You better watch your mouth before I give you a fat lip." Although it looks like someone already has. It's like, oh shit.
But yeah, I wanted to mention this because the first season is like one of the like little chef's kiss like seasons of anything I've ever seen. Like, it was really good on its own. It was basically an extortion attempt, like gone wrong, like almost Fargo like, but like with a lot more parody.
It's just like people making stupid mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. It has a lot of that, and
blood has been shed. What are you talking about?
My favorite at the end is like William H. Macy going, "No, no."
Yeah. How the hell are we going to split a car?
But yeah, Righteous Gemstones is just such an indictment of like the megachurch thing.
Sure.
And it's just, it's like, of course the people that head this up are not good. Like, they're no good. And it's just really funny. Like, everything's a facade, you know? Like, it's like one of those things. So, yeah, I really am looking forward to season 2 because, like, it's been several years. Like, I was in my apartment when we watched this. So, yeah. Last two things. I know probably a lot of people already know this, but Sidney Poitier, one of the most important actors in history, has passed away this week. Yeah, just
he's been in a ton of stuff, but I think the only thing I've seen him in was a damn good movie, To Sir with Love, where he was I forgot if he was, I think he was just a new teacher, like in a classroom with a bunch of punks, like in England, but like, you know, he wins them over time, and it's a heartwarming movie. He freaking kills it, man. He's great.
Oh, well, he has Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I think he won the Academy Award for that, and that was significant because he was the first black actor to
win Best Actor.
To win Best Actor. Yes, correct.
Yeah, I think, wasn't it an Oscar?
For Academy Award, yeah, Oscar and Academy Award are synonymous.
Okay.
So yeah,
I'd like to thank the Academy. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he was not the first black person to win an Oscar, but he was the first one to win it for Best Actor.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, like at the time, that was earth shattering.
Yeah, really, really big deal. He was. And to call him an amazing actor is an understatement. Just captivating. Just had more charisma than anybody in the world. Was very intense. Obviously, a person that was well involved in the civil rights movement as well. He was also in The Heat of the Night, where he was Mr. Tibbs, famously. I am Mr. Tibbs.
I've heard of that, but I haven't seen it.
You probably most know it from the parody of it in Toy Story. I am Mr. Pig.
I didn't even know that was a reference.
It is. But yeah, he also like demanded a lot of things on set and like actually had the clout to do it because he was so popular. In an era when many people of color would not have any power on the set. There was one scene in The Heat of the Night where like a racist person slaps him, and he said, "I need to have it on screen that I slap him back."
Yeah.
Like, I don't just take it, and he does. He slaps him back on screen, and it's like it's like a shocking thing that happens in the movie, especially like if you were not expecting that. You were not expecting that back then. So he was a character that had a lot of self-respect, and it was great. He was a fantastic, phenomenal actor. Had a long life. He was in his 90s when he passed. So just want to had that as a celebration of a fantastic actor. And as of tonight, this was a shocker.
This is out of nowhere. It's out of nowhere to the point. I guess I'll just get into it. Rest in peace, Bob Saget.
Yeah, this was
Like,
an
just
hour or two
suddenly.
ago.
Yeah, he was like what, 65?
65, yeah.
But like at the time, like, I mean, people might have figured stuff out by the time you hear this podcast, but at the time of recording it, it's so recent that the article that reported this, like, it says causes of death are unclear. Like, we have no idea what happened.
They have confirmed that there are no signs. That doesn't mean it's not related, but there are no signs of drug use or foul play.
Yeah, it said he was dead in his hotel room.
Yeah, the cleaning staff found him in Florida, in Orlando, at a really nice hotel after doing a long set, a 2-hour.
That's the
set.
thing. He was touring. It's not like, oh well, he's really coming down with illness or whatever. Like,
no, I think maybe he might have just had a heart attack. That's my suspicion.
Yeah, maybe.
And
it feels bad though, because
Yeah.
considering this is not terribly long after Norm Macdonald died, and he was really broken up over that, because like he was really good friends with him, and now it's only been like a couple months.
Yeah, but there was nothing leading to this. I mean, Bob Saget wasn't sick, to our knowledge.
That's the thing. There was nothing leading up to Norm either, except he just kept it really, really quiet. I don't know if a similar thing is going on, or if this is
I
completely
doubt
unrelated
it.
or what.
I doubt it because he was on tour. It wasn't like he was receiving treatment or anything.
No, that's true. I mean, well, Norm was still active. I don't know if he was on. I guess he wasn't on tour anymore. But
Well, yeah, but he was getting treatment up until his final days. So, Norm knew he was sick.
oh no, of course he did. But yeah, Bob Saget, I have no idea.
I don't he seemed very energized by his performance. Apparently, he put out a tweet last night after his performance and said it went really well, and he was really happy about it. So
Yeah.
Maybe he just passed in his sleep from a heart attack. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know if he abused anything or anything like that. I mean, he has had drug related humor in the past. He's famously like the cocaine guy in Half Baked, but I don't know. I thought he was clean.
I forgot about that.
I always thought he was clean. But despite being a dirty comedian, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, just tonight I looked up a really old clip of him, like when he was like being introduced at a comedy club by Rodney Dangerfield, actually, where it was super young Bob Saget, and his comedy style felt very different from what I'm used to. He still went in with the filthy humor, but like he was a fast talker. Like, someone in the comment sections described him as like a bad salesman, except telling great comedy.
It's just very shocking. I just don't know what to make of it. It's just one of those things that, like, I think he was beloved too by a certain segment of people too as well. So like I think it and I guess his gimmick always was that his onstage persona is very much the mirror, like a Funhouse mirror version of what he is on TV, because he was he was in, to give people context, he was in the most saccharine of saccharine TV shows at the time.
He was in what, like, the existence of The Simpsons parodied.
Yeah.
Like it was like, modern Leave It to Beaver. Like, gee, Dad, what do I do about school? Well, son, I'll tell you. It's just like, it was very, like, it was a good show, but like, boy, is saccharine the word.
Yeah, Full House, it like had a lot of like kid-friendly jokes, kid-friendly humor. Like a lot of it was just, it's not adult situations that they even address or anything like that. And
in fact, there was a very funny clip I saw on, I think it was Conan, when Bob Saget was was interviewing him, and what was really funny is that I can't find the clip anymore, but he set this up by saying there was one joke that he, like, well, not a joke, but one set of lines that he just couldn't get through without breaking, because it was so stupid. Because I think who Was John Stamos Uncle Jesse?
So John Stamos was Uncle Jesse, and then you also had Uncle Joey, who is Dave Coulier. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot if it was Joey or Jesse, but there was a letter where like it was this heartfelt letter, like, I'm sorry, I can't be with you guys anymore. I have to leave or whatever. And it's like, oh no, he's gone. But like one of the kids is like, oh, this is embarrassing. I never really watched the show. What was Bob Saget's name?
Danny Tanner.
Danny. They're like, Mr. Tanner or Dad or whatever. Like, what's going on? And he was like, I'm afraid Uncle Joey's run away from home. But he could never deliver that line because
he's a
this
grown
4-year-old man he ran away from home. It's like it's so absurd. He just he can't get
it's like the trick or treating
Bob Saget
line
says with a straight face. This is what he can't get through because it's like so absurd
because
he has to deliver it super like he ran away from home. It's like come on.
It's like the Fresh Prince trick or treating line.
Yeah, but they're gonna do further trick or treating. It's like. Shut the fuck. So yeah, Bob Saget was trying to do a redemption thing on Conan where he's like, now I'm gonna get through the line, but he still couldn't do it because it's so stupid. It's just a silly line.
So Bob Saget not only starred in that show, he was the main character. Who the premise was that his brother-in-law and his good friend from college move into his house because his wife has passed away because he has 3 daughters to raise on his own. So that's the premise of the show. So the 3 girls have 3 dads essentially. So that's the premise, and of course the family gets bigger over time. But yeah, that it was a show that lasted for a long time, and like I said, it has that I would almost say that Disney Channel and Nickelodeon style sitcoms are based off of the formula of that show in particular. It's same type of jokes, same type of humor, just that level of it. Maybe you could point to something earlier, maybe in the 80s, like Punky Brewster or something like that. But the popularity of Full House is unrivaled. I mean, there's just so many famous people sprang out of it. Like the Olsen Twins. The Olsen Twins were babies at the time, and they swapped them in and out because of child labor laws to be a single character. So
made it real tough on the Mary-Kate and Ashley little movies where they're always on camera at the same time.
Yeah,
can't swap them out.
Yeah, I mean their sister is a lot more famous than they are these days, but
yeah, I remember
really
seeing
funny.
A post on that about Twitter or something. What if I told you in the 90s that Elizabeth Olsen would be the famous one? Huh? Did you even know there was an Elizabeth Olsen back in the day?
I think there are still people that don't understand that Elizabeth Olsen is their younger sister. I think there are plenty of people that do not realize the connection. Yeah, because Elizabeth Olsen is Scarlet Witch in the most popular movie series of all time. The highest grossing movie series of all time, and will probably be that way for a very long time, if not forever. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's so he wrote that show. On top of being the main character, and he also wrote and starred in America's Funniest Home Videos, the original version of it. Was
he the very first?
Yes, he was the first host.
Okay.
In America,
I remember
at
that
least.
Show, I wasn't a big fan of it. I forgot how he talked to the audience, but I remember when the videos played, he would be doing a little silly voice.
Yep.
Someone falls down. Oh no, I hope I don't fall down. That just never clicked with me. But it was very
they make fun of that in South Park a lot, many years later.
Yeah, where that one guy actually falls out of his chair and is just in hysterics on the ground. That was funny as hell. Because the audience is always laughing to that, and I mean there's probably a sign applause or a laugh or whatever.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It's not that funny, and that one guy in South Park was just crying with laughter. That was really, really funny. But yeah, that never clicked for me. But yeah, I knew Bob Saget as Full House guy and America's Funniest Home Videos guy. I didn't even know about his humor, his stand-up until college.
So yeah,
and god damn, dude.
So not only was he prolific, he wrote 2 shows and starred in them at the same time. They actually aired the same night. on
actually,
TGIF every.
That also reminds me. There was another show. Oh,
Friday nights. Yeah.
No, not like I'm thinking of like another, like not Conan. It might have been Jimmy Kimmel, possibly, but like Bob Saget was on that as well. And what was kind of cute was they had one of the people who work on the show, like a person whose name you wouldn't know. It's just like, here's one of the staff we have on the show. But they let him come out because he was like a hardcore Bob Saget fan. But like what they had him do was that he had written, like he had mailed a letter to him or something when he was like a little kid, like 6 or 7 or whatever. So it's just funny hearing how you write when you're a little kid.
Sure.
But one thing was really funny about that was like, boy, like Bob Saget, I sure love your stuff. You're great. Like it'd be really cool if you got like a third show and like another one. Like that's not enough for you. It was so funny.
Yeah. So he was on 2 extremely popular shows for almost 10 years that were on at the same time. And he was a stand-up comedian, but little did you know, like, his stuff, he never really had, like, a special or anything, so, like, you would only really know what his comedic style was if you went to go see him. And,
yeah, like, you can YouTube some of his acts now, but yeah, I didn't know about any of this stuff for a long time.
So, it turns out that he is one of the dirtiest comics ever to live. Like,
yeah, like he's specifically known for that.
He's dirty, even amongst dirty comics. He's dirtier than them. And
what was funny is in that clip of super young Bob Saget, like there's a few jokes I'm not gonna go into on the podcast, but like like when the audience started laughing, he just immediately called them. He's like, I now think less of you for laughing at that joke. It was very funny.
He's very, very, very funny. And like I said, he had a cameo appearance in Half Baked, which is Dave Chappelle's show from back then.
I forgot that was him, because like the main cameo I remember, and this was really funny because it's so stupid, was like Jon Stewart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, have you ever tried it? Like, head appears in the camera, ennui. Yeah. It's like, this is, I can't believe it's you.
I'm not going to repeat what Bob Saget says in Half Baked, but I
don't even remember.
Well,
we'll get to it later.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it, but it's funny. Just look it up if you're curious. But again,
yeah, I'm sure it's easy to find.
Very shocking from somebody who's known for a saccharine TV show, 2 saccharine TV shows.
Yeah, and even on his like Tonight Show and stuff, like interviews, like he's willing to swear or like little stuff slip out on purpose, and people are like, oh, it's still weird to me.
So he was also known for, and a lot of people don't think about this, but he was actually like in one of the most popular sitcoms of the last decade. He was the older version of the main character of How I Met Your Mother. So he would narrate every episode, and he was also in the finale as well, I believe. So no, they never showed him. Because they just made an older version of the younger actor for that.
Yeah, he doesn't grow up looking like Bob Saget.
But he did the voiceover for How I Met Your Mother for every episode. So he kind of did the Daniel Stern thing. Daniel Stern was the voiceover of Kevin for the Wonder Years, but for every episode.
Yeah.
That blood curdling scream, that guy, yeah, him.
Yeah, Marv.
Yeah. But
wow, that was him.
Yeah. So Bob Saget got around. He also was known for actually being best friends with John Stamos. He was best friends with him on the show, and he was best friends with them outside of the show. So he was known for playing tricks on people in real life with John Stamos. Like he would go to the bathroom, like the men's room with John Stamos, and then they would, in character, like their characters from the show, talk to each other. Like while other people are there.
That's friggin' surreal.
So they would call each other Jesse and Danny. It was just...
That is wild.
Yeah. Do crazy stuff like that. So I feel really bad for John Stamos in particular, because he's been putting out some heartfelt like tweets. John Stamos is known for being a pretty good guy, and he was best friends with him, and like is really, really devastated by the loss of him. So rightfully so. He lost his best friend. So, really a shocking thing. Just one of those things. Anybody can pass away at any time. So it's just ugh. It's hard to reconcile, especially with losing a lot of great people recently. Betty White, Sidney Poitier, and and good for different reasons. Good for different reasons. So, we lost a funny guy before his time. It's really a shame. But why don't we move on to fan stuff here, Lotus, while we have some time here?
Why, certainly. So we have a couple of comments. School Filmer saying, another nice episode. It goes great with putting together a jigsaw puzzle. Anyway, got Saints Row 4 during the holiday sale, and I like it a lot. It did have some issues. For example, the game crashed on me a few times after cutscenes played where the player character enters the portal.
You must be playing the PC version.
Yeah. The broken, this is going to make me mad.
Shillelagh.
What's the name? Yeah, it looks like Shillelagh, and I know that's not how it's pronounced because it's Irish. Yeah. It's like, Sam Hain, it's Samhain.
Yeah.
I gotta remind myself. I got lucky a couple times that it didn't. And if I load a game, it plays the most recent audio log I picked up. That's bizarre. Yes, Kinsey, I know how much you like Oleg. Still a lot of fun, though. And also, I got Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 after a week when I was supposed to get it as a Christmas present. Quite fun, and maybe I could introduce one of my nephews to Tetris when that time comes.
Always good.
And then Fakafon says, NFTs are bad when the video game industries leap onto that bandwagon immediately. Sounds weird to say. I beat a game to get the bad ending. It's like I fail to see any other type of media where that's an objective, except maybe the old choose-your-own-adventure books. It's such a weird concept when you think about it.
Yeah, I like the Dangan.
That's like half the fun.
The Danganronpa bad ending is pretty great. Where you end up staying.
Oh, in the first one.
Yeah, you end up staying in the in the vault.
That had some real fucked up implications too.
Yeah, very.
I don't even know if they meant it for it to be that fucked up. Just
no, whoa. I think they did. I look it up.
We're not going to go into it.
Yeah, look it up.
Look it up on my Let's Play that I recorded with Pyro Jack Frost. And to correct myself, Corpse Party, I said that's half the fun. Fun is not the word, but it's half of the intrigue. Corpse Party is not fun. It is great, but fun is not the word. And now for our question. Going back to Ross's question, because he had given us 10 and I've been rapid firing them. So I'm going to give you 3. What's your favorite curse word? What sound or noise do you love? What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, favorite curse word.
Fuck is extremely versatile.
I see. The older I get, the more infantile way of saying things is actually funnier. Because like
poo poo.
Yeah, poo poo is really funny to me. See, you gotta laugh out of me just for me hearing poo poo.
It's like Sebulba when he loses a pod race. Poodoo.
No, it's just like
that means shit. By the way, he said shit.
So I can be pedestrian and say, fuck or shit, because, those are fun, but, I honestly think that inventive curse words are the way to go, like hybrid curse words,
So I will say they help you get the anger down, too, because you're thinking about what to say.
And it also, if there's a particularly creative one, and it fits somehow to the current situation, I particularly like it. So my long time ago, my one of my good friends, Jesse, just blurted this when he was stubbed his toe or something, and I cannot forget it.
Jesse of the Uncle Persuasion?
No, not John Stamos.
Okay. I thought it might have been John Stamos.
And he said twat waffle, and boy, is that a good one. I like that one, and he also on a different occasion called somebody a douche canoe. That one's quite good too. So I'm gonna have to go with a tie.
I've heard stuff like that online, but that it just doesn't. If I'm mad and I want to spit something out, it just doesn't satisfy. Douche does, because you could spit out the word with the New Jersey accent, like douche, but
Oh, my favorite is in God Hand, where he's like, douchebags!
Douchebags?
I've never seen that before.
He was just bemused. They somersault away. douchebag.
I've never seen that before or after in a video game, by the way. Usage of
Oh, no,
douchebag.
something that was keep on rolling. Yeah, he's great.
The usage of douchebag in God Hand is might be the only time I've ever seen it in a video game. It's really funny.
Oof. I would have to think about it, but yeah, if there is more than one, it's what was 2. It can't be many.
Yeah, I mean, let's just face it. I mean, there was a documentary on cursing, on Netflix a little while ago with Nicolas Cage. It was about a year ago at this point, and they basically said that like normal, like everyday curse words are kind of diminished in the current context, just because
they're normalized.
They're very normalized in fact, because we don't have FCC regulated communication amongst the popular forms of communication. So people just say them now. So they're really not as bad as they used to be. They're just kind of naughty, right? Even in the workplace, you'll hear them bantered
really
about.
More of, well, it's really being able to get something out of your system than the choice of words you make. That is if it's an expletive.
And
if you're just insulting somebody, I think you suck. At that point, anything goes. The meaning of the word matters.
Yeah.
But when you're just fuck, anything could replace that.
Yeah. So an expletive, vast majority of people are not insulted by the use of an expletive at this point. And so, even in the workplace, it's semi-acceptable. So, depending on whether it's customer-facing or not,
yeah,
of
don't
course.
make a habit of it.
Yeah, exactly. But, especially if it's a non-directed expletive, right? So
yeah, that's the thing, yeah.
But, they said they had, basically each episode they explored a different curse word. And they really said at the end that these words aren't the worst words in the English language now, and the worst words in the English language are ones that pertain to insulting a demographic. And that's far more insulting because of the hurt behind them. And
that's the thing. If you break down what the words actually mean, they're not offensive unless you're being compared to them.
And you give them that power.
Shit, fuck. It's that isn't anything.
Yeah, and even in certain languages, they don't even have taboo words like that. They might have a naughty word, but not.
Well, they might have a common phrase you might use to insult somebody.
Yeah, but
a specific word
Yeah, I mean Japan doesn't have an equivalent to fuck. They have an equivalent to shit, but even little kids say it. They say kuso. So it's used as an expletive, but it's not seen as a bad or naughty thing. It's just what people say. What is kind of funny is that they use it in the same way, which as an expletive, which I find actually fascinating. Somewhere in the primordial language of man, we said shit, and it has meant the same thing other than feces since then, amongst almost all cultures, which is really interesting to me. Yeah, like I said, it has to go for the. But how about you? What's your way in on it?
Honestly, probably depending on my mood, probably just shit or fuck.
Yeah.
Shit, you could just spit the word out, and
hell is so mild you don't even notice it when you say it.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's fun though? Speaking of Nicolas Cage and cursing, have you ever seen? Not that I have, but I've seen clips. You ever seen pieces of his movie Deadfall? It's a really early movie.
No, I've never seen that.
Well, not of his, but that he was in. There's a very funny scene where he is given information that very much displeases him, and then he just decides to go into full Nicolas Cage acting. So he's just in a bar full of people, and he just goes fuck. People are just staring at him. It's absurd.
It's amazing. As for what sound do I or noise do I love? I love that glunk sound that a shell makes.
Stone into water.
What was that?
When you drop a stone in the water?
It's similar, but it's the when a shell is put into a gun, like in Terminator 2.
Oh, that...
Yeah, I love that.
Like that pneumatic tube sound.
Yeah.
When you shoot like a letter.
Yeah, I love that, and I love like the clickiness of a clicky button, like with a micro switch in it. I love that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of that is also the tactile feel. When you press it, there's a little give, and then got it. Well, I'm gonna cheat because this also plays into feel, but cat purr.
Oh yeah,
man,
I love
that's
that.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's some good stuff. What else we got?
Oh, I love when my cat purrs and also my dog yawns. When my dog yawns,
okay.
She sounds like a screen door closing, and I absolutely love it. It is hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like a squeak.
And for sound or noise you hate, I mean, nails on chalkboard, that's a low-hanging fruit. Like, that's the one that actually makes a chill down my spine, even if I think about it.
The sound of a tooth breaking, or even the simulated sound of a tooth breaking, it just drives me bananas.
Yeah, that's like extremely uncomfortable.
Bones breaking, in general. I mean, I'm getting more used to it the more that I cook. I know you probably didn't know where I was going with that, but
where you cook the humans whose bones you broke before deciding to cook them. Yes.
No. I'm more like butchering, my own cuts of meat and stuff like that. Exactly.
Steak, yeah.
Exactly. So,
I'm reminded of, like, in Yakuza, you can use pliers.
Oh yeah.
As a weapon. So there's a tooth heat action, as a finger heat action, but the tooth heat action sound. I mean, like, you don't see literally what happens. Like, I mean, you see what you're doing with the pliers, but they're not going to get that graphic. But that sound is unpleasant.
Yeah. Those are up there. I mean, I don't know if anybody. I know some of you have probably experienced this, but the deafening sound of a car crash while you're in that car.
Oof.
Yeah, that
I've heard a car crash when I was nearby.
No, but inside's a completely different ball game. It's a different thing. Yeah. Because, like, the air compresses to the the inner cabin, and it is unlike anything else I've ever experienced. Like, it's just, and it's terrifying. Even if you have a like a small bump, it is terrifying. Yeah. It is just something that like, I didn't.
That is true. Even if you inch forward and hit the little, like, those things in parking lots, like, to let you know where to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you touch those a little bit, it's like, oh god, like, it sounds horrible, and when it's really not, but it sounds terrible when you just, like, touch something.
When I was in my mid-20s, I hit a lamppost because it was just out of my peripheral view.
What did it ever do to you?
and it was out at the time at night, so I just didn't see it. And I know it sounds stupid, but I just didn't see it.
Well, the light was off. I didn't see it.
But I hit that at maybe 10 miles an hour, and
not very fast, but, like, whoa.
It was awful. Like, it was awful, and that was in a non-life-threatening situation, right? Like, I've been in minor car accidents at best, and I've hated that. I have no idea, like, the horror of a real serious one. I cannot even imagine that. It's one of those things, like I don't think your brain can even process it correctly. It's that jarring and terrifying. But yeah, those are all up there. Anything else that you wanted to add to that, Lotus?
No, I'm probably good.
Okay. Well, that is the show for this week. We want to thank all of our fans who contributed questions. Please keep us supplied with awesome topics of your own by submitting questions of your own via the YouTube and SoundCloud pages. Maybe I can read next time. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Tuesdays for our sister podcast, Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth look at this week in our lives. And just a reminder here, we will be continuing our coverage of the Matrix series. We just ran long with our reactive stuff, especially with the unexpected deaths this week and all that. So we wanted to give everything its due time. So we'll continue our coverage of the Matrix franchise next week. Finally, you can find me as vysethebold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, Twitter, basically anything. Just give me a heads up and let me know who you are and how you know me.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing, well, I'm already getting out of order and out of sorts. How do you like that? If you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, which, by the way, next game coming up is the Journeyman Project, Pegasus Prime, which I will be streaming on Thursday nights if you're interested in joining. Awesome. Selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, including that one, and getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
All right, everybody. We will catch everybody on Tuesday then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.